Scream number 2. This is my first time watching it for a second time. Like I said in the last video, I watched these all a while back, but this time I'm going through for the second time around, seeing what's different here. First time watching them a second time. And yeah, already in the first one, like I said before, I love it. I think that I noticed a few more things that I didn't the first time around. In this one, there's a couple things as well that caught me that I wasn't sure about my first go around. I'll start off with already something else. So the two people at the very beginning, the two couple that go to the Stab movie premiere thing, I was like, who in the effing fuck are they? Like, they just seemed completely removed from the entire rest of anything else going on. And then at some point, no, I think Gail and Dewey and somebody else was looking at a chalkboard, and they're looking at the names of the victims, and the names of the victims, as well as the news. I think at one point were saying that they went to the same high school as Sydney and them, and their names were like it had Sydney's mom's name, like one of them at least the first name, and the last names were matching up with their names. So it was kind of like at a Stab opening movie with these people that were at it being killed. They were targeted for that. It seems okay. That is more of the connective thread that is supposed to let Sydney and them know, get the message that there is some killers coming back here now, and to get things in motion on the campus of the school and everything. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think that she was also a last name related thing or a first name thing. Her first name was Stacy, and she was at the house or whatever, the sorority house while everybody else was partying at a different place. And so she was pretty much alone when that happened and was able to get killed there. And then, so I'm trying to pay attention to all the stuff that happens here. I was able to track a little bit easier, or match up where the two serial killers were, like to account for who was which one. Mickey, I'm probably going to call him Mikey here and there, so forgive me if I do. It just rolls off the tongue a little easier for me. Mikey, he was the one that kills the two cops that were protecting Sydney and kills her friend and accidentally gets knocked out. See, I was thinking when that happened, I was like, he obviously wasn't intending to get knocked the fuck out. So like he could have pretty much been killed, or anything could have happened when that does, and they're able to sort of get out of the cop car. But like anything could have happened there. She could have unmasked him then. She could have figured that out, but she didn't. When she did, she almost she hit the horn. So she was like, okay, I just got to get out of the car, but I'm too curious. And then her friend got killed in the process. I'm wondering, because Sydney starts to run after her friend gets killed, and then Mickey runs after her while he's in the Ghostface thing. He just kind of stops a little bit after chasing her for a sec. If she didn't run, I guess what I'm trying to figure out with all the Scream films is like, if Sydney and other people don't do exactly what they kind of were wanting to have happen, would they still kill them right away, or would they try to make it look like there's a fight and try to leave before, so that they can manipulate the events in the way they want to later? Maybe because they also seem to have a time frame in mind on when they enact some of the stuff here. That's probably one of the main things that I'd want to discuss with my Scream folk again, is their timetable, their plan. Like, is it time sensitive each time? What if some of the characters just didn't do a few things that happened? Like, what if the characters had guns on them and were able to shoot them prior, than having it be with this? I mean, I feel like there's some situations that maybe that would have happened and then they get effed. Maybe. I mean, the first film, there wasn't as much of a case for that with where everything was taking place, but then guns do become a part of the situation toward the end, same like with this one. But I'm curious if that would put a stop into some of their plans, because they're not invincible and they're not wearing any, gear like they were in the third one. Continuing a motif or a thing that happened in the first one and throughout this whole franchise, whenever people pull out a knife, there's always the classic shlink, 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 shlink. They just move the knife shink over here, shink, 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 shink. It makes a shink noise every single time the puppy moves. They need to make the shlink noise every time. It is very funny. I don't know why. That is just fun. It's something I noticed, and I can't get it out of my head. Every time I hear it, I laugh, because especially when it wouldn't make that noise, you're not unsheathing it. It just, you move it in the air and shink, 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 shink. Just does that every time. I love it. Cotton is in this one. Cotton, the accused person to kill Sydney's mother, now proven innocent, and thanks to Sydney and everything, thanks to Gail, he is proven innocent, but he was still accused of being a murderer, and he was in jail for about a year for this and was going to be sentenced to death. A lot of people, even though he is innocent, do not see him that way. They are very easily suspecting him of doing shady things, regardless if he was innocent for that. That's now a label on him, is that he's this type of guy. And so that really fucking sucks. That's the kind of thing that's happened. Just the word of mouth. It doesn't matter how innocent you are, the word of mouth will kind of make that decision for you in a way. And so he's been wanting to get some public eye and get people to see him for who he is, and get this whole labeling crap of him as being a killer out of the way so that he can have a happier life. And I think that that is good. He's barely in this, but he is in it enough, and I do feel for the character. And Sydney's going through her own problems, of course, with another killer being back. And Cotton is just like, I'm wanting to get my life going. Come on, holy shit! Like he doesn't seem to be as taking the whole situation seriously enough, because he's just trying to get movie deals, essentially trying to get news coverage. He's trying to work his way up in that kind of sense. So he doesn't seem to be as sensitive to it, but he is a little bit in the conversations. He is realizing how things look sometimes. Like he puts his hands on her shoulders and then just immediately pulls off. Oh, sorry, no, don't mean to do that. But come on, you kind of put me through shit with your false wording at the beginning. Can you give me a little slack here? And then he shows up in the right places at the wrong times, like trying to find Dewey, and he's all bloody, gets blood on his hands. And then Gail sees him, and she is upset about Dewey having been killed, and it's just like, oh fuck, he's the killer, and it tries to do that. She runs into Billy's mom, who she doesn't know is Billy's mom at the time, and it's like, Cotton's the killer. The look on the mom's face. What? He is? It's funny because I don't think that was part of her plan at all, to have Cotton be in this so much. Not really. Which brings me to the two killers, essentially, Cotton, or not Cotton, Mikey, whatever, and Billy's mom. So I sort of get it. So it's the film guy, Mikey, he is the film kind of guy. He's in the film theory class. He wants to utilize this stuff to make a huge gain for himself. I mean, Sydney goes to the same school as him. I'm assuming that she went to this school and he realized it and helped, and was starting to think this is why he was there. But then again, so I'm a little confused, I guess, on how this happens. So the mom definitely wanted to get revenge on Sydney killing her son, and Mickey wanted to do this whole shebang and then blame the movies. He wanted to do all these killings and then be like, I'm innocent. The movies got to me. Stab affected my judgment and whatnot, and I am an innocent. Blah 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 blah. He thinks it's airtight and solid and all that stuff, which it probably wouldn't be, honestly. But I could see them trying to do that though. And the mom just kills him right there. But she also says there was 97 active serial killers in the United States, and she was lucky to find him. And I'm just wondering how that happened. I guess, was she just looking online? Hey, any serial killers available for hire? Like, I don't know. That's the one part that's a little fuzzy to me on how this connects, on how those two met each other to do this. Because with the context of the third Scream film, the main guy that was behind Scream 1 that directed Billy and Stu, did not account for there being another encounter for Scream 2 at all. That was not his plan at all. That was not in his thing, apparently. He was just planning to do the one, and things were botched. I'm assuming he didn't plan on Sydney killing Billy and Stu, but things were botched, so he plans to do another thing and another huge reveal and whatnot to Sydney. And even though he wasn't behind anything to do with the second one, I'm thinking that's how it goes. He's not involved in the second one, but he still treats it like it's sort of the trilogy cap off of this whole story thing that he's directing and narrating a little bit as he made this story. But yeah, you see, I'll have to watch it when I get to Scream 3. I'll have to let you. I'll discuss it then, because I'm just coming fresh off of Scream 2. I don't remember the details of Scream 3 enough from when I last watched it to get this detail right here. But yeah, I do love how Sydney obviously would have boyfriend trust issues in general with people in her life, let alone her boyfriend. And he seems to sometimes be in the wrong places and at the wrong time. And it's like, God damn it, he's trying to be supportive and caring, and he understands she's going through all this stuff, and he's trying to be right there for her. But with him being so a good boyfriend, that is Not helping his case though, because the last boyfriend was kind of like that and tried to kill her. And yeah, she has some trust issues with that stuff, which makes a lot of freaking sense. And it sucks. And this has got to do some huge damage to Sydney's psyche when her boyfriend's strapped up there and she's trying to let him go. And then Mickey's just like, oh, well, I had a partner. I was knocked out and had to do it myself this whole night. My partner was over here and trying to make it look obviously like he's the one. And it's like, oh, you got some trust issues to work out. Yeah, he just shoots the boyfriend right there. Can't do nothing. And it's like, oh, shit. Damn. Like, if you've ever felt sorry for a freaking victim in a horror movie, my God, like she survived all the things the first one, all of that trauma, and then that affects this one directly, and she doesn't know what to think, doesn't know who to trust, and then like sometimes it'll look so clear to her and then just be totally unraveled, and it's not the case. So, I mean, god damn, freaking love it. I love it so much. The music throughout the film, I think, is also really good. The music throughout the film, I think, is also pretty good. The first one, I don't think the music was bad, but there wasn't as much notable stuff other than, of course, Red Right Hand. I freaking love that song. The Red Right Hand. I love it. But in the second one, there seemed to be a lot more music that I was noticing that I liked a little bit more in this one. So I don't know if there's that much of a difference between the soundtracks between the two, but I liked this one a little bit more. I'm wondering in that theater scene where she's talking with the main like theater coach guy. One, I freaking love that guy. He seems like he seems like he'd be a good character, and he doesn't get killed in the movie. So, that would have been kind of cool to see him come back in some way. He was giving advice to Sydney specifically so that she could do the play and wanting her to do the character and follow her dreams and everything. But the advice that he was giving seemed to also do well as like life advice about, are you a fighter? Are you giving up? What are you trying to do here? Are you just gonna, what are you going to do with this? You're gonna let this control you the whole time? Like she wasn't feeling up to doing the play because of all the situation going on right now and her fears. And while she's doing the play, they just happen to be wearing some freaky ass spooky masks and trying to pretend to stab her with fake knives. And she's running around there and there's all these flashes, so things are disorienting a little bit. I'm not sure if there was supposed to actually be a ghost face person in that crowd or if that was just her imagination. That was a good use by the director, I think, to kind of make us question that. Is there somebody in there that was trying to kill her? There seemed to be shots. There seemed to be shots of a ghost face person with a knife within that little group of masked people, but there also might not have been easily. Could have been like, was he really there, or was that a figment of her imagination? Because, like, just of her fears, of course, with all this, like manifesting. Like, she's just like, oh, I'm surrounded by the situation, the drama, the stuff, the character she's playing, all of that probably like just making a whole scene here, just like she's freaking out. Yeah, like I would be on the side that there wasn't a ghost face person there, that was all in her head. But I'm curious what you guys think in the comments because I'm not sure. And that's kind of a good thing, though. It's interesting. I wouldn't understand what the point would be to have like if Mickey or the mom risked going onto a stage in front of people in the public to specifically freak her out. That would seem really kind of stupid. So I'm just betting I'm really more on the side that it was just in her imagination that it was there. And then right afterward, when she's trying to catch her breath and get some fresh air away from everybody else, and the boyfriend comes in, she's like, when did you get here? She's immediately just on the defense of like, oh my god, were you one of the people, were you what I just saw that was there trying to get me? And he's just trying to support her and like be like with her, and it's like, oh fuck. And that reminds me too, there's another line I think after Sarah Michelle Gellar got killed where Mickey is like, you're not alone, Sid. Like, knowing that he's he's one of the killers, like he's just totally fucking with her and totally getting off on it. I mean, they even mentioned that too, that it's already probably somebody in your life, and they somehow love to get off on that, like that. Oh, I'm your friend, wink, wink, and then I'm gonna betray you. They love doing that to you, seemingly. An issue I have, though, and another issue I have, maybe, is so with Mickey and the mom being the killers, I feel like there's a huge difference between them and Stu and Billy. I mean, not that they need to be the same, and that's not what I'm getting. Follow me here. Billy and Stu were in a large portion of the first Scream movie. They were in like quite a bit of it. Mickey and the mom here were barely in Scream 2 by comparison, I would say. Like Billy and Stu were part of the main cast of the first Scream film, I would think, as to where these two seem to be more like the B or C cast, that they are characters that show up a few times and say a few things, but they're not ultimately in the film that much. They're not really a part of the main clique. Like, yeah, that Mikey hangs out with them at lunch a little, I guess, in that film theory class, but he doesn't seem to be as around Sydney specifically all that much. So I'm not so like when he was revealed, I was just kind of really like, what? And then when the mom was revealed, I was like, double what? Not because it's like, oh, you just totally got me. It was just more, huh? Like I don't know. I guess I barely saw you enough in the film to really come to that conclusion. A little. It wasn't as satisfying reveal compared to the first one, I think. But I'm not sure that it's supposed to be because they are trying to like he in his from his perspective, from Mike's perspective, he's trying to do like a movie thing and blame the movies for it and all this stuff. As to where the mom's just trying to get good old bloody revenge and have a good, somebody and a good alibi to have be the killer to frame and whatnot, so that she can get off completely scot free with all this stuff and probably take a little aggression killing people. She's a little crazy, seems to be. And she even has a line. She's like, I hate it how people keep on blaming the parents, blah, 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 you stupid kids. It's just kind of funny. And I don't know. Like, there's just something about that didn't feel as solid compared to the first one. I feel like this one does good at being a sequel, though. I really do think that the first three films do really good at being what they are: a first movie, a sequel, and the capping of a trilogy. But yeah, just this one would probably, at the moment, rank. See, but people would always ask me how to rank the films. Right now, I would put Scream 1 definitely above Scream 2. But again, the reason why I had them rated on the same scale, like that they're rated equally. They're all equally good, but for the different reasons, like being the first movie, being a sequel, and being the capping of a trilogy. Because they really do, though. Like this one has all this stuff happen with Sydney, where there's more press around her. There's a lot more pressures around her. She's in college. Her father's not around her as much with this whole thing going on. She's got to somehow try to move on and have trust with people. And there's the whole Stab movie that's out now that like replays this event. The Gail's book is out with this. There's all these impressions people have of Sydney. Some people think she's trying to get attention from things based on the first film with all this different stuff that's going on. So like this film is like, to me, it's hard to say that one is better than the other because both of them are trying to achieve very different things than the other. And like number two is strengthened with what we know from number one, as to where one was the first time we're seeing it and seeing how things play out and all that stuff. So they both have different achievements, if you get what I mean here. But I guess I would say I feel like the reveal and the killer stuff I think was better in number one. This one I feel like the killers was a little less. So in that type of sense, I would say that right now I like Scream 1 the most, and Scream 2 is a little below that. But I'm not 100% on ranking stuff right now, and I'm going to do the next watch as well for Scream 3. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'm going to end that around here. I think I'm going to end it around here for now. And I am just, as the more of these I watch again and knowing all the stuff that happens, this is a more fun experience than the first time. The first time I was just surprised that I enjoyed it so much. This time I know I enjoy it and I'm looking for specific things now. I am aware of things that happen later and I'm able to watch these films and enjoy them very much. They have so much substance. I love it. A juicy, substantive film that I can dig into and dive into and enjoy. And characters are likable. And so when they die, it's also like, fuck, you killed characters that I liked. Fuck you. All right. Anyway, that's all for this one. Have a good one.